During the car accident, my husband climbed into the back seat to Princess carry his female assistant, leaving me, severely injured under the airbag, behind. I hadn't even managed to unbuckle my seatbelt before the car exploded in front of them, taking me with it. On the day of my funeral, Cassius didn't come to the cemetery. He was taking care of his assistant, who only had a scratch on her face. When I opened my eyes again, I saw Cassius complaining to her with a displeased face, "I've never seen someone so dumb, can't do anything without me. Honey, I have to take her with me on this business trip, she's so pitiful." I coldly laughed. That night, as soon as they checked into their hotel, I called the police. In this new life, did he really think I would let him off easily? When I picked Cassius and Sophia up from the police station, the dim moonlight made his dark expression all the more noticeable. Apparently, the police had received a call reporting prostitution and burst into the hotel. When they were caught, Cassius hadn't even put his pants back on. Sophia, the little white lotus, was crying her eyes out, saying she'd never be able to show her face again. I glanced at Cassius, who was hanging his head in silence, and slapped him across the face. Cassius staggered back a few steps, clutching his face in bewilderment. At that moment, Sophia foolishly rushed to shield Cassius. "Alicia, what's the use of hitting him now? Instead, why don't you?" Another crisp slap resounded. This time, it wasn't me who acted, but Cassius. "How dare you speak to your sister-in-law like that? Apologize." Cassius scolded softly, his impulsive hand shaking slightly. That slap was well timed. Otherwise, Sophia would have blurted out, "Why don't you let us be together?" and things would have gotten really messy. Pretending not to understand, I watched Cassius stubbornly try to explain himself. "Honey, I really don't know who's trying to smear us like this. You have to believe me, there's nothing between Sophia and me." Oh, I nodded. Poor fool, he didn't know I was the one who called the police. I shifted my gaze to his collarbone. "Hey, what's that red mark? A mosquito bite?" Cassius nodded vigorously. Yes, a mosquito bite." I gave him a sidelong glance. "That's quite a large mosquito." As we got into the car, Cassius kept babbling, assuring me, "Honey, believe me, we were just discussing business in the room, nothing happened. It must be someone jealous of the big project you gave us, trying to set us up." Right, discussing business in a room, with the lights off. In my past life, I trusted him too much, letting him fool me like a fool. My company was Cassius's biggest client. As his wife, I did everything to pave the way for his career. To secure the largest project for Cassius, I put in a lot of effort. But this scumbag only asked me to get the project so Sophia could smoothly complete her graduate studies. Later, they hugged in the lab, kissed outside the lab, and their behavior was so blatant that even other team members couldn't stand it. Perhaps my judgment was clouded, because as long as Cassius gave a good excuse like, "It's just a work relationship, I'll switch assistants after the project," I'd believe him immediately. In the end, I paid for it with my life. Pathetic and laughable. Now, given a second chance, if I still considered my past feelings and went easy on him, I'd be truly foolish. I got into the driver's seat and turned to him. "Really, nothing happened?" "Nothing. Absolutely nothing." Cassius swore to me. I pointed at Sophia sitting in the back, "Then make her get out and walk back." "Why are you looking at me like that? If you don't care about her, then she shouldn't be in my car, right? Is there a problem?" Cassius stared at me, dumbfounded. None at all," he stammered. Sophia was left standing by the road in her bare legs. They had been quite playful. When they left earlier, she was wearing black stockings, but now they were gone, clearly torn off by Cassius. Though it was just after the spring festival, it was still quite cold in the southern region, especially at night. The area was suburban, and it was hard to find a cab. The breeze was gently blowing Sophia's skirt. I stepped on the gas and sped away, not giving her any chance to catch up. On the drive, I stayed silent while Cassius, trying to curry favor, kept talking about how much he missed me and how he would complete the project I assigned him on time and with high quality. I smiled and asked, "How careless were you to end up like this?" Luckily, I arrived just in time. If someone with ill intentions had seen this and posted your scandal online, it would have been a huge joke. Cassius patted his chest. "Honey, don't worry. I have a clear conscience and am not afraid of anything. Even if it gets out of hand, I'll explain everything immediately and won't let you get hurt." I found it amusing. "When you wanted me dead, you weren't afraid of me coming back as a ghost for revenge?" During the car accident, while I was trapped in the passenger seat, Cassius only cared about saving Sophia in the back seat. "Sophia is hurt, I'll save her first. You figure out how to get out yourself." I watched Cassius's back get further and further away in despair. Then I was blown to pieces in a violent explosion. Cassius's droning voice pulled me out of my memories. I glanced at Cassius, who was still babbling on, and felt a surge of irritation. So, I slammed on the accelerator, pushing the car up to 150 kilometers per hour. Wife, what's wrong with you? Are you crazy?" Cassius exclaimed in shock, gripping his seatbelt and shouting loudly. I raised my hand and slapped him to shut him up. We drove at high speed all the way back, and it was already the early hours of the morning when we got close to home. Cassius's phone was ringing nonstop, so he simply turned it off. A few minutes later, my phone vibrated. Perhaps noticing that Cassius had turned off his phone, the caller then turned their attention to me. I said to Cassius, "Why did you turn off your phone? It's late, and she's a young girl. She might run into some danger outside." Cassius laughed out loud. "What danger could she be in? She looks so safe. Besides, what does her being in danger have to do with me? I'm not Spider-Man or Captain America, able to fly over and save her. That's ridiculous." I could tell Cassius was trying hard to pretend he was nonchalant. But I still detected a bit of anxiety and embarrassment. So I teased him on purpose, "You really have no feelings for her?" Cassius shook his head repeatedly and explained, "Wife, what are you talking about? That girl isn't attractive, and she's not even good at her job. She can't compare to even a toe of yours. How could I possibly have feelings for someone like her?" Haha, this sly man is truly a smooth talker. I didn't say anything else, just pretended to casually glance at my phone. "Oh, when did Sophia call?" Just as I was about to hang up, Sophia's voice suddenly came through. "Cassius, you bastard." Before she finished speaking, Cassius lunged over, grabbed my phone, hung up, and turned it off in one swift motion. I knew that for now, Cassius didn't dare fall out with me. For the sake of the project, and his career. This sly man, he must have 100 schemes. After we got home, the sly man tried to appease me by pulling a diamond necklace out of his pocket to give me. It was sparkly. I didn't know who he originally bought it for, but I got lucky. I pretended to be happy, hugged him, then took a picture and posted it on social media. Who brings gifts home for their wife so late at night? Oh, it's my Cassius. I'm not usually the type to show off my happiness, but now I enjoy it. Someone's bound to be driven mad with jealousy. After all, I learned from her. Those comments like, "What's it like to have a boss who buys coffee for the staff? The boss blocked the alcohol for me again. His wife is so lucky," and "The boss is so nice, he gave me a red packet, and no one else got one." Those coquettish remarks stabbed at my heart again and again. The next day, I slept in, then got ready to inform the project team members about an emergency meeting. In the past, I trusted Cassius completely and never supervised the progress. As a result, my trust gave Cassius and Sophia a perfect opportunity to have an affair. Cassius directly appointed Sophia as the project team leader, and the two often used work as an excuse to meet up. I've always been carefree and had no idea about any of this. Until Sophia's senior, Grace, couldn't stand it anymore and spat in my face, saying they were messing around with each other. How could they have any energy left to do the project well? That was when I became a bit suspicious. But just 2 days later, I was happily deceived by Cassius's sweet words again. Cassius and I have been together since university. Back then, he was the professor's favorite student, and many girls liked him, but he chose to confess to me. Thinking back to those youthful days, Cassius was really good to me. All the delicious, fun, and beautiful things were given to me first. His first paycheck from a project went to buying me a beautiful, sparkling diamond ring. Perhaps the past was too wonderful, I never doubted his love. But the reality is, people change. When he loved you, he truly put his heart into it. When he lied to you, he also put his heart into it. At the project follow-up meeting, I pointed out a serious and basic mistake and scolded Cassius harshly. In a past life, it was this mistake that almost got me demoted. I trusted Cassius too much, to the point where I entrusted such a large project to him, not expecting him to be completely preoccupied with love and not focused on the project at all. Cassius looked down awkwardly, clearly not expecting his usually hands-off wife to suddenly become so strict, giving him no face as a leader. President Alicia, it's like this, Sophia is a newbie, inexperienced, so it's inevitable there are some oversights in her work. We'll correct it as soon as possible. If she's inexperienced, then she shouldn't be the team leader. Cassius immediately shut his mouth. I continued, from today, Sophia won't be following this project. You're not familiar with the business, so it's better not to challenge such complex tasks right now. With that, I also instructed Cassius, the project's deadline was brought forward by at least half a month, and it must be rushed to completion within that time, or no one would have a good time. Sophia suddenly looked up at me, perhaps having had a rough night, her face looked terrible, or maybe she had cried, her eyes were swollen like peaches. In any case, Cassius's taste was so bad, it was obviously an insult to me. Sophia quickly composed herself, putting on a pitiful look of being bullied. Sister-in-law, if you're targeting me because you're jealous, there's no need for that. Cassius and I are just normal superior-subordinate relations. If I offended you in any way, I apologize. But this project is really important to me, Sophia suddenly burst into tears. Important, of course, important. Whether Sophia can successfully graduate as an outstanding student mainly depends on this project. It will be a great addition to her resume. Whether she advances in this company or jumps ship, she'll be in a favorable position. But it's not that important, I sneered. As far as I know you, even without this project, there's still that professor and that senior. Isn't that right? Sophia's face turned as black as the bottom of a pot in an instant. She was always good at pretending to be a sweet, innocent girl to gain sympathy. But this time, she picked the wrong target. As I left, I even recommended a set of skincare products to Sophia. A young girl like you, why does your complexion look so bad? If I didn't know your age, at first glance, I'd think you were nearly 40. You should take good care of yourself and focus your energy where it belongs. After working overtime that night, I was blocked by Sophia downstairs at the company. Under the dim streetlight, Sophia glared at me with red, hateful eyes. It was clear she could no longer keep up the act. Alicia, you're targeting me because you're insanely jealous of me, aren't you? She spat. What's the point of this? Cassius said he only loves me. You need to understand, in a relationship, the one who isn't loved is the third wheel. I couldn't help but laugh out loud. Yes, he only loves you, which is why he slapped you in front of me. He only loves you, which is why when I fired you, he didn't even dare to make a sound. Let's see if he will stand up for you when I go to your school tomorrow to report you for gaining benefits through improper means. Even at this point, she was still counting on Cassius's love. Clearly, she was deeply deluded. Cassius, he doesn't love me, nor does he love Sophia. He only loves himself. It seemed I had hit a sore spot. Sophia lunged at me like a madwoman. I stepped aside, watching her rage silently. Alicia, can you wake up? Cassius loves me now. He said he's long been tired of you. Do you know how ridiculous you look clinging to a man who doesn't love you? You're already an unlikable old woman. Disgusting. It's time you stepped aside. Sophia grew more hysterical. I stood coldly in front of her, waiting for her to finish cursing, then I raised my hand and slapped her. The sound was crisp and satisfying. Ah! You dare hit me! Sophia screamed at me, raising her arm as if to strike back. I grabbed her outstretched hand and slapped her again, this time with full force, nearly knocking her to the ground. How about it? Isn't this the confrontation you've been craving? Enjoying it? I said coldly, if you have the guts, kill me. If not, be ready for me to destroy you. The new product launch event was 3 days later. During these 3 days, I memorized every detail of the event and even got a stylish haircut. I attended in full business attire, and as soon as the product function introduction ended, it was met with applause. The next part was the sample demonstration. Suddenly, an uninvited guest rushed into the venue, grabbed the microphone, and shouted to the audience, "Don't be fooled by this old woman. Their product may sound good, but it's full of flaws. It's substandard." It was Sophia. After speaking, she took out a product developed by the project team and explained in detail where the issues were and the severe consequences they could cause, very meticulously. I stepped aside, giving her space. Such a good show, of course, I wanted to watch it with everyone. After Sophia finished speaking, the audience was in an uproar. She turned to look at me, her eyes full of pride and provocation. At this moment, Cassius waved his hand at Sophia. "What nonsense are you talking about? Get down." This product launch was supposed to be Cassius's shining moment. When he left home this morning, he even spritzed on some cologne, smugly asking me, "Wife, how do I look in this outfit?" Holding back my laughter, I replied, "Super handsome." Now he was panic-stricken, desperate to rush up and drag Sophia off the stage. "Cassius, if you are ruthless, don't blame me for being unjust. The product you made is a substandard, 3-no product. As a socialist citizen and a member of the research team, I have the duty to expose your misconduct." Sophia said righteously, clearly having rehearsed these lines for quite some time. "Everyone, look, this is the face of a capitalist." Well said. I responded a second before Cassius could rush on stage. Instantly, cameras turned towards me. Yes, Miss Sophia's analysis is correct. Each error she pointed out is indeed fatal. It's because their product is extremely unqualified that we've already eliminated their team. As for Miss Sophia, due to some business differences, she has already been removed from the project team. Her sudden uninvited appearance and self-exposure, I don't understand, but still, thank you. Then, under the expectant gazes of the crowd, I continued, "Now, please welcome our project team's lead, Emma, to the stage for the demonstration." At this moment, Cassius was less than 10 meters away from me. Hearing me call Emma's name, he suddenly halted. Dressed in a suit, standing where he didn't belong, he looked somewhat out of place. Emma quickly took the stage and began her presentation. The audience erupted in applause. Cassius's face was as cold as ice. His lips moved. "Alicia, are you insane? Emma is one of Cassius's strongest competitors. In my previous life, I fell out with Emma to give the project to Cassius. Looking back, I realize how foolish I was. I gambled everything on his career and lost everything, including my life. So, after my rebirth, the first thing I did was contact Emma and set up a new project team. Having learned from my past mistakes, there was no way I would naively hand over the entire project to Cassius again and walk into a trap with my eyes wide open. On the surface, I praised Cassius to the skies, but behind the scenes, I had already kicked him out of the picture. I waited and prepared for this moment for a long time. With such a significant project botched under his watch and such a huge embarrassment, Cassius's boss surely wouldn't let him off easily. But of course, this wasn't nearly enough. Emma spoke eloquently on stage while Cassius stood in the audience, head down, unsure of what to do. Finally, after Emma finished demonstrating all the features, Cassius's boss couldn't sit still anymore. He wiped the sweat off his forehead and pointed at me, questioning, "The project is ours. Handing it over to someone else like this is not right, is it?" I chuckled softly. "It's not me who's being unreasonable, it's your company's employees. Instead of focusing on the product, your employees spend their time sneaking around having affairs, leading to poor product quality." I warned them repeatedly, but they ignored me. Our agreement states that any quality issues would be considered a breach of contract by the other party. We can discuss the penalty later. Cassius's face turned black with anger. He moved his lips and argued, "Honey, I've said it before, there's nothing between Sophia and me. If there is, it's because she seduced me first. She couldn't succeed, so she's here to take revenge. Please don't ruin our company's collaboration over these misunderstandings." Sophia clearly didn't expect Cassius to lie to such an extent. She opened her mouth to defend herself, but suddenly, someone in the crowd stood up. I report that Sophia and her boss engaged in inappropriate relationships during work hours, leading to abnormal project progress. After being reprimanded by President Alicia, she sought revenge. It was Sophia's senior, Grace. The moment she spoke, the entire room fell silent. Sophia's expression was priceless. She probably never imagined that the person delivering the final blow would be her own senior. But as far as I know, Grace has long harbored resentment towards Sophia and Cassius. Grace is clearly more experienced and capable, but Sophia, clinging to Cassius's coattails, got all the opportunities, while Grace was relegated to a subordinate role. How could she possibly accept that? Grace then produced all the evidence of Sophia's and Cassius's illicit relationship, including holding hands secretly, kissing in the elevator, and hotel receipts. This was equivalent to slamming the evidence in their faces. Cassius was still trying to explain to his boss, but the boss slowly stood up and walked away without looking back. Cassius's anxious and helpless demeanor in the crowd was exactly like a clown. "Liar! You're all liars." Sophia took a step back, screaming, "Alicia! You did this on purpose, didn't you? You bitch! Liar! It was Cassius who came on to me first. How could I have any improper thoughts about an old man like him? Everyone, don't be fooled by her. She's of bad character, they're slandering." I couldn't be bothered to respond and silently took out a recorder, playing a recording. In the recording, Sophia's voice was sharp and mean. "Cassius doesn't love you anymore. Old woman. If you have any dignity left, you divorce him now." Each word was like a hammer, nailing Sophia to the pillar of shame bit by bit. She stood there, speechless. She probably never imagined that while she was screaming at me yesterday, my hand had quietly slipped into my coat pocket and pressed the recorder's start button. Sophia and Cassius fled the scene amidst the flashing cameras and phones. The product launch continued afterward. Thanks to the earlier show, our launch achieved unprecedented hype, trending on multiple platforms even before it ended. The comments were overwhelmingly positive. My boss was thrilled. Whether the buzz was positive or negative didn't matter as long as it generated attention. But Cassius wasn't so lucky. His major work blunder naturally earned him a severe reprimand from his boss, a demotion, and suspension. Sophia was outright fired. Her part-time graduate studies also fell apart. All the information about her seducing professors and cozying up to seniors for her thesis and projects was exposed by people I hired. The school, under public pressure, decided to conduct a month-long disciplinary review. The first order of business was expelling Sophia. Next, I spent some money hiring online influencers to steer public opinion against Cassius. His dirty laundry was aired thoroughly. Even the receipts for his hotel stays with Sophia, which he had tried to expense at the company, were uncovered. Cassius's boss finally lost his patience. Not only did he fire Cassius, but he also demanded that Cassius repay the extra expenses he had claimed for hotel rooms. In his anger, he went as far as to sue Cassius, demanding compensation for the damage to the company's reputation. Cassius was left with nothing. As for me, I went home with an unusual sense of satisfaction. Cassius, looking like a wilted eggplant, sat hunched before me. In just one day, he seemed to have aged 10 years. "You knew all along, didn't you?" Cassius finally spoke. "Alicia, I never expected that after all these years of sharing a bed, you could be so ruthless, so scheming, and so unscrupulous." I poured myself a glass of red wine and slowly sat down. "Really?" I asked. I never expected that after 10 years of love, you could be so shameless. Do you remember our vows? To love each other for a lifetime, to grow old together. Cassius furrowed his brow, opened his mouth, but ultimately said nothing. I continued, but not only did you cheat, you also conspired with your mistress on how to get rid of me after the project was over, planning to kick me out with nothing. I took a sip of wine and spoke coldly. Cassius looked up at me, full of surprise. I slowly pulled out my phone and placed it on the table, playing a recording. Sophia, I know you're anxious right now, but if we just endure this moment, we can have a lifetime of happiness. I won't let you suffer for nothing. When the time comes, I'll transfer the assets, and she'll leave with nothing. After that, all the money in the house will be yours. I've long been tired of her. You're the sweetest, the most understanding. Cassius stood stunned for a moment. Then he asked, you were spying on me? I laughed, yes, and the bugging device was developed by your team. You used to work so diligently when Sophia wasn't your whole world. Cassius looked at me coldly. Alicia, you're terrifying. His voice was devoid of any emotion, as if I were a stranger to him. All of this was part of your plan, wasn't it? I smiled without answering. Yes, it was me. It was me who deliberately provoked Sophia, warning her that if she didn't get rid of me, I'd destroy her. It was me who feigned accidentally revealing their product flaws to team members. It was me who found Grace from the beginning, having her collect all the evidence of Cassius's and Sophia's affair. It was also me who arranged for Grace to subtly teach Sophia how to destroy me. Scary? Compared to them taking my life, I don't think I'm scary at all. Let's get a divorce. I gently placed my wine glass on the table and spoke to Cassius. The house has already been mortgaged, and we'll each get a car. You can calculate how much you'll get if we split the savings. Of course, the money you spend on hotel rooms with Sophia is considered marital property, so you owe me that. You mortgaged the house? I nodded. You can either leave with nothing or share the loan with me. Which do you choose? I knew all his plans and what kind of asset transfers he was making. So, before he could complete them, I acted first. I mortgaged the house citing financial strain and withdrew all our investments and funds, transferring the cash in several installments to my friend's overseas account. He wanted me to leave with nothing? Not a chance. Cassius was caught off guard, his eyes darting around as he weighed the pros and cons. I don't agree. Cassius stood up. No matter what, you'll always be my wife. I love you, I really only love you. I won't deny that being with Sophia made me feel like we were young again, but I was just having fun. I didn't mean it seriously. I raised my glass and splashed the remaining half of the wine in his face. Do you think you're still some hot commodity that I can't live without? Wake up. You're just an unemployed bum now, no better than rotten lettuce. I packed all of Cassius's belongings and put them by the door. Cassius, having been fired, betrayed by his lover, and now facing divorce, would be left with nothing. Why should I cover for his mistakes and pay for his wrongdoings? I spoke coldly, I'm giving you until dawn to leave, or I'll file for divorce. With that, I returned to the bedroom alone. Actually, the first few years after Cassius and I got married were really tough. We had no car, no house, and lived in a cramped space for 3 or 4 years before both of us got promoted and started saving up to buy our current home. My parents even chipped in all their retirement savings. On the first day we moved into the new house, we lay comfortably on the large bed, and Cassius promised, honey, if it weren't for you, I wouldn't be living in such a nice house. You're amazing. I love you so much. He said, honey, I promise to treat you well for the rest of my life. If I ever break this promise, I'll leave with nothing, I'll die, I'll beg for food. Cassius suddenly fell silent. Wait, why aren't you following the usual script? Aren't you supposed to quickly cover my mouth and say no, no, no? I laughed. Humph, I just wanted to see how poisonous of an oath you can swear. The more venomous your vows, the less you dare to betray me. But later, he still betrayed me. Yet, it was I who ended up dead. However, this time, it wouldn't happen again. Cassius didn't leave, he sat at the door all night. The next day, I told him I had left something at the office and asked him to help me retrieve it. Suddenly, there was a glimmer of light in Cassius's dull eyes. I quickly got up and handed him the car keys, asking, "Have you forgiven me?" He looked completely haggard, his face unshaven and lacking the charismatic charm I once admired. Why did I fall for someone like him when I was younger? I didn't say anything and turned to go home. An hour later, I received a call from the police. Cassius had been in a car accident and his chances of survival were slim. I rushed to the police station to give a statement. The investigating officers said the accident was unusual. Cassius had suddenly lost control of the brakes, crashing through an intersection and into a flower bed in a nearby park. Wait, the brakes failed? My car is regularly maintained, it shouldn't have broken down. The two officers exchanged glances. When was the last time you drove your car? I can't remember. I drive it every day. My husband has his own car, but he sent it for maintenance a few days ago, so he drove mine today. I shrank back, feeling both confused and scared. Could someone want to kill me? The police quickly launched an investigation. Later, they discovered through various surveillance cameras that the last person to have contact with my car was Sophia. It was on the day she was fired from the company. At night, she had sneaked into my garage, but what she did there remains a mystery due to the blind spots in the cameras. So, I pulled up the dashcam footage. The video wasn't very clear, but I could see Sophia tampering with my car. The police asked, "You don't usually check the dashcam footage?" I was baffled. I have a ton of work waiting for me every day. When would I have time to watch this stuff? The police thought for a moment and agreed. They then promptly arrested Sophia. Meanwhile, news came from the hospital that Cassius had succumbed to his injuries. In the interrogation room, Sophia eventually couldn't bear the pressure and confessed to her actions. She cried uncontrollably, banging her fists on the table, asking why it wasn't Alicia, that old woman, who died and why Cassius was driving my car. She collapsed over the table, wailing. "Alicia, you jinx. You bitch. Why wasn't it you who died?" A month later, Sophia's case was concluded. She was sentenced to death for intentional murder. Before her execution, I went to visit her in prison. Sophia had cut her hair very short and sat across from me with vacant eyes. Her face was pale and gaunt. Upon seeing me, Sophia began banging on the glass like a madwoman, cursing and wishing for my immediate death. I didn't respond. I waited until she had finished her tirade before softly saying, "I told you to focus on the right things, TSK, you didn't listen, did you? Did you not use the skincare products I recommended? Otherwise, how could you look like this? Do you even look in the mirror in prison? You look like you're almost 50 old and ugly." With that, I slowly stood up. "It's you. It's all your fault, isn't it? You caused this. You caused Cassius's death." Sophia was quickly subdued by two guards and taken away. As I walked outside, I could still hear Sophia's curses echoing. Stepping out of the prison, I looked up at the sky. The sun felt so nice. In my past life, I only learned after my death that it was Sophia who tampered with my brakes. On the day of the accident, I should have been the only one driving home. However, after having a few drinks at a social event, I called Cassius to pick me up. Naturally, he brought his mistress, Sophia, with him. At first, Sophia tried to avoid getting in the car, insisting that I should take a taxi home. I didn't know she was scared. She suddenly darkened her expression and insisted on driving home drunk. Seeing this, Cassius immediately jumped into the driver's seat and clumsily shoved Sophia into the back. As soon as the car was moving, Sophia panicked and wanted to jump out, saying that if we didn't stop, we would all die there. Unable to tolerate Sophia's loud protests, Cassius hit the brakes but found he couldn't stop at all. It was nighttime, and we were in the suburbs. Cassius still had time to think of a solution. He instructed Sophia to buckle her seatbelt and aim to graze a tree on the roadside. Then he unbuckled his seatbelt, jumped out of the car, and rescued Sophia, who had only minor injuries. Before leaving, he said, "Honey, figure out how to get out of here. Sophia is hurt, I need to save her." He couldn't see that I, in the passenger seat, was the one in the most danger. My head took a significant hit, and the world around me became a blur. The force of the impact was too great, and before I could unbuckle my seatbelt with my trembling hands, the car exploded. In an instant, I was gone. After being reborn, I prepared for both outcomes. If Sophia tried to sabotage me again like in my past life, I would hand the car over to Cassius to drive. If she didn't act, I would take the already transferred assets and part ways amicably with Cassius. Every day before I drive, I always test the brakes twice in the garage. I even make it a point to seriously review the dashcam footage, no matter how late it gets. That night, I saw Sophia tampering with my car. So, instead of going to get a divorce first thing in the morning, I handed the car keys to Cassius and asked him to help me retrieve something I left at the office. Naturally, it was also to make him my scapegoat. Then, I quickly reset the dashcam's recording time. I knew he would get into an accident, but I didn't expect it would cost him his life. It happened during the day, on a busy road, and Cassius had no idea there was a problem with the brakes, so he couldn't anticipate it and ended up panicking, which led to his death. But that's okay, the family fortune is all mine now. After my promotion, my salary doubled, and my mom started introducing me to various suitors through her friends, but I turned them all down one by one. After going through all of this, now that I have a second chance at life, I plan to live my own little life to the fullest.